Dragon's teeth aren't supposed to stop an attack. It's just one part of an overall defensive posture, and apparently something that Russia has been building into their defensive lines in eastern Ukraine. So let's take a look. These are Dragon's teeth here. They're reinforced concrete triangles that serve as anti-tank obstacles. So if you look at the truck in the background, no chance that truck is moving these out of the way or driving over it. But a tank or an armored vehicle could. They just run the risk of kind of riding up the top of it and essentially beaching themselves to where they're out of commission until they can be recovered. Dragon's teeth aren't anything new. They got that name from how they look sticking out of the ground. This is a picture from World War II, the Siegfried Line in Germany with Allied troops moving through it. They were effective then, and employed correctly can still be pretty effective today. Before I forget, Simple History does a great little short clip on how Dragon's teeth work. I'll put a link in the description below. Definitely worth checking out. Now, according to some Russian Telegram channels, this is roughly where those defensive lines, those Russian defensive lines, are being built. I saw some notes that it was the Wagner group building them, but either way, it's in Russian-held territory today. So if Ukraine wanted to attack towards the east, looking at this map, they would have to at least consider the obstacles in their planning, which could make more of a southern push around the obstacles much more appealing. That is what we call shaping the battlefield. Now, zooming in a little bit, let's say an attacking force decided to take the obstacles head on. This is an overhead view of one of those stretches of defensive positions in eastern Ukraine. The lines, the light lines running left to right are Dragon's Teeth. There's 2 rows in here. And then above those, you would likely find minefields in that field. And below those, you can see a couple trench lines likely designed to overwatch the obstacles. So right off the bat, a couple different ways you could tackle this. Ukraine could focus an artillery barrage on that section to potentially remove the Dragon's Teeth. That would keep friendly forces out of the kill zone until a path is clear, but does give away the artillery positions, requires a substantial amount of ammunition, creates craters right where the vehicles are intended to pass, and lets the enemy know where you intend to maneuver, and of course leaves the minefield up on the top of this picture, untouched, undealt with. More conventionally, a different option would be to suppress enemy observers with smoke or HE so they can't watch the approaching force coming in, while engineers hastily clear a path through the minefield, probably with something like a MICLIC, mine clearing line charge, pushing assets forward towards the obstacles to clear a gap for the armor that's pushing in close behind. This potentially could be done much faster and much more surprising to the defensive forces, but it poses a much greater risk to those breaching assets who are going to be working not only within range of direct fire assets, but also right along areas that have been pre-planned for mortars and artillery just for this purpose. Now, either one of those methods, and quite a few others, could work. That type of decision always, up to the commander on the ground. But either way, they slow down an attacking force. They have to plan this into their timeline and take time out of what otherwise could just be a straight push through these fields. And any sort of little shift of the timeline really matters on the battlefield. Now, given that most of these photos, like the one we see here, only show 2 layers of anti-tank obstacles, slowing down the attack is probably all the Russians could hope for in this specific instance.